ॐ प्रपन्नपारिजाताय तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः.
Namaskar everybody. In chapter 2 Sankhya Yoga, we got a glimpse of the topics that are going to come. Atma, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and the Jnana Yoga. The chapters that are going to come further will elaborate on many of these concepts and throw more pearls of wisdom. Let's move forward. நம்ம அடுத்த chapter 3 கர்ம யோகாக்குள்ள போறதுக்கு முன்னால let me give a brief introduction into the contents of karma yoga chapter. Karma is action. Yoga is a balanced state of body and mind, emotions, thought and intellect, and then doing it as a sacrifice or yajna, not with the end result or the gains from that. And then it involves mental, moral and physical disciplines. So now if you look back at it, karma yoga is action performed with all these prerequisites. Simply put, that is what it means. And you can relate to every chapter heading which ends with yoga. Please keep in mind, yoga is that state of balance of the body, mind and other things that I talked about. Right. In karma yoga, Lord Krishna says karma yoga and jnana yoga, that is doing action with the yoga mindset or pursuit of knowledge and elevating oneself in search of the meaning, who am I. They both lead to the same path of liberation. But Lord Krishna says jnana yoga is not possible for all people to follow, whereas karma yoga is for everybody, because the jnana yogi is a person of a higher level of enlightenment. Appo that jnana yogi also should follow the karma yoga also, as otherwise the other people will try to stay inactive, கர்மாவை விட்டுட்டு இருக்க பார்ப்பாங்க. ஆனா அதனால என்ன end result, அவங்க கர்மத்தையும் விட்டுருவாங்க, ஞானத்தையும் விட்டுருவாங்க. Therefore Lord Krishna says the layman will leave both karma and the jnana if he tries to emulate the enlightened people. Therefore he says enlightened people should set example by following the regular karmas. And then he says, while performing the karma or the action, one should do it with the conviction all these actions are happening because of the nature and my gunas and the free will of the God. So he should offer all his actions as an offering to the God superpower, and then whatever the results, he should have the humility and magnanimity to accept as a prasad or a gift from God. Let's go further into the chapter. இன்னைக்கு நம்ம பார்க்க போற 4 ஸ்லோகாஸும் from Karma Yoga chapter 3, ஸ்லோகாஸ் 14, 21, 27 and 37. முதல்ல Lord Krishna establishes a beautiful link between the karma or the rituals and the divine. Then Lord Krishna says that whatever the important person or an influential person does, rest of the community tries to emulate him. Therefore, he says it's important that that influential person or the leader does the karma so that rest of the people also take to the path of karma yoga. And then Lord Krishna says the person obsessed with the I notion thinks that he is the doer. But in reality, Lord Krishna establishes that all actions happen because of the modifications in the mind, senses, and the physical body in interaction with the Mother Nature. And finally, Lord Krishna talks about the perils of desire and anger. He says these are born out of the rajas. We talked about this guna some time back, born out of the rajoguna, and he says this, these two, the desire and anger, should be understood by people as the main enemies of the humanity. And there are shlokas in between which are not covered specifically, but I had said earlier I would give the gist of or the essence of the shlokas in between. For example, 3.14 I cover, then I cover 3.21. So in between 3.15 to 20, I would specifically take up for briefly explaining the essence contained. Similarly, for 22 to 26, which are not specifically covered, and so on. You will know it as we go by. Let's go further. நம்ம இன்னைக்கு பார்க்க போற டீடைல்டு எக்ஸ்பிளனேஷன் முதல் ஸ்லோகா 3.14. அதுக்கு முன்னாடி த ஜிஸ்ட் ஆஃப் ஸ்லோகாஸ் 3.1 to 3.13 நான் சுருக்கமா சொல்லிடுறேன். அந்த கர்ம யோகத்தை பத்தி சொல்ல ஆரம்பிச்ச உடனே லார்ட் கிருஷ்ணா சேஸ் எவ்ரி லிவிங் பீயிங் இட்ஸ் இம்பாசிபிள் ஃபார் இட் டு பி விதவுட் டூயிங் அ task. Even for sustaining one's body, the inner organs to be functioning, one has to do minimal essential duties. And that Krishna says a person should do all his external tasks without a desire and control of his senses. But anybody who has got control over the senses but has not got over the desire and things in his mind, then he is a sinner. And Lord Krishna emphasizes that everyone should do the stipulated essential tasks, rituals. And the importance of yajna or the rituals or yagam, அதை வந்து சொல்லிட்டு வரும்போது லார்ட் கிருஷ்ணா சேஸ் அந்த யாகத்தை செய்யும் போது மட்டும்தான் அதுக்காக விருப்பப்பட்டு பண்ணணும். The only place where one can show the desire to perform a task is for the rituals. Because anywhere else, when the desire creeps in, he says it will bind one to the law of karma. And Lord Krishna also talks about the importance of rituals. And while on it, he says one should offer in the rituals to the Lord Supreme Power and then eat the remnants after that. Instead of sharing with the people, one who cooks for himself, Lord Krishna says he is a big miser and he is a big sinner. இதெல்லாம் சொல்லிட்டு he beautifully now links the importance of rituals to the divine. அதே தான் அடுத்த ஸ்லோகத்துல டீடைல்டா பார்க்க போறோம். Let's go to 3.14.
अन्नाद्भवन्ति भूतानि
अन्नाद्भवन्ति भूतानि
पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः
पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः
यज्ञाद्भवति पर्जन्यः
यज्ञात् भवति पर्जन्यः
यज्ञः कर्मसमुद्भवः
यज्ञः कर्मसमुद्भवः
Shloka 3.14. It's a very nice and interesting root cause analysis or the cause and effect analysis. Let's have a look. Annat bhavanti bhutani parjanyat anna sambhavaha. Yajnat bhavati parjanyaha. Yajnaha karma samudbhavaha. Bhutaningirது all living beings. They bhavanti, that is they happen or they are created from where? Annat, சாப்பாடுனால, from food, because food sustains our body and the body organs, including the reproductive organs for procreation. Right. So the living beings are born out of the food, sustained by food. Where does the food come from? Parjanyat anna sambhavaha. Parjanyaங்கிறது the rain. From the rain, because the crops are sustained by the rain. The power and the influence of rain is so well known. திருவள்ளுவர் ஒரு தனி அதிகாரம் தட்டு இந்த பிகினிங் பாயிரத்தில் இன்ட்ரடக்ஷன்லயே வச்சிருக்காரு 10 குறள். அந்த மழையை பத்தி சொல்லும் போது சொல்லுவாங்க, நீரின்றி அமையாத உலகம் சொல்லுவாங்க. தட் இஸ் without rains no life can be sustained in this universe. ஓகே, அந்த மழை எங்கிருந்து வருது? யஜ்ஞாத் பவதி பர்ஜன்யா. யஜ்ஞம் ஆர் த யாகம், the rituals accompanied by the mantras and the homa and all that. And how do the rituals happen? Yajnaha karma samudbhavaha. By the karma, the activity, actions of those noble people. In fact, they say the people who do this, the noble people who do their karma yoga, and then they do the yajna, they are so noble that for at their beckoning the rain gods will come. That is their power. Anyway, so here it says the living beings are sustained by food, while food itself happens because of the rains. Rains occur because of the yajnas done by the noble people because of their noble deeds. And then I had mentioned some time back that Lord Krishna takes it further to say that, and the yajna arises from the Vedas. The Vedas themselves were created by the supreme power. Therefore, there is a direct link between the yajna and the superpower. And the importance of rituals is emphasized by Lord Krishna here, that all the living beings should carry out the rituals stipulated for them in their dharma. Let's go further. All beings come into existence from food. Food comes from rains. Rains originate from the performance of sacrifices. Sacrifice and the yajna, yagam. And sacrifice is born out of doing prescribed duties. தமிழ்ல அன்னத்தால் உயிர்கள் சமைகின்றன. அன்னம்னா food. மழையால் உணவு தோன்றுகிறது. மழை வேள்வியால் ஆகிறது. வேள்வினாலும் அதே யாகம்தான். வேள்வி செய்கையினின்று பிறப்புது. So it's a cyclic relationship, one linked with another. So Lord Krishna explains clearly how rituals are linked to the divine superpower directly. Having established a very nice flowchart linking the living beings to the food, in turn to the rain, which is linked to the doing of yajna or yaga, which itself arise out of the performing of karma or the rituals. Lord Krishna then goes on to say that the rituals are born out of Vedas, and the Vedas themselves are born out of the Lord Supreme. Therefore, Lord Krishna establishes a direct connect between the supreme power to the rituals of the conduct of yajna or yaga. Then Lord Krishna goes on to say that the non-believers in this live a life of sin, and they are oriented only towards the sense pleasures. As against this, the karma yogi is happy within himself, content in life, and he is not dependent on anything outwardly, and for him action or inaction makes no difference. And Lord Krishna now quotes the example of King Janaka and others who had attained the highest level of enlightenment just by faithfully following the path of Karma Yoga. King Janaka is reputed to have excelled in his administrative skills and taking care of his people. So that Karma Yoga took him to the highest level. That is the way Lord Krishna establishes the importance of doing karma as a karma yoga. மேல பார்க்கலாம்.
यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः
यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः
तत्तदेवेतरो जनः
तत्तदेवेतरो जनः
स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते
स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते
लोकस्तदनुवर्तते
लोकस्तदनुवर्तते.
श्लोका 3.21 यत् यत् आचरति श्रेष्ठः तत् तत् एव इतरः जनः सः यत् प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकः तत् अनुवर्तते. இதுல வந்து ஸ்ரேஷ்டஹான்னா those leaders, influential people or the noble people. அப்போ அவங்க வந்து எத்து எத்து ஆச்சரித்தி அவங்க என்னெல்லாம் செய்யறாங்களோ வாட் எவர் த லீடர் ஆர் த பர்சன் இன் த லீடர்ஷிப் பொசிஷன் டஸ் தத்து தத்து ஏவ இதரஹ ஜனஹா. இதரஹ ஜனஹான்னா மீதி இருக்கிற மனுஷங்கள்லாம், த ரெஸ்ட் ஆஃப் த பீப்புள், தத்து தத்து ஏவ அதையே வாட் எவர் த லீடர் டஸ் தீஸ் பீப்புள் ஆல்சோ ஃபாலோ த சேம். சொல்லுவாங்க இல்லையா, யதா ராஜா ததா பிரஜான்ட்டு, அரசு எவ்வழி கொடிகள் அவ்வழின்னு சொல்லி, அந்த மாதிரி லீடர் செய்யறத the followers do. And therefore what does happen after that? Saha, அந்த மாதிரி that noble person, yatu pramanam kurute, whatever rules he makes, whatever stipulations he does, lokaha, the rest of the people, tat anuvartate, அதே ஃபாலோ பண்றாங்க. So it means the leader, whatever the noble person or the leader, whatever he does, மற்ற மனுஷங்களா, the rest of the people அதே தான் செய்றாங்க. And whatever rules he makes, rest of the people follow that. That means the leader wields so much of influence over the people. They hero worship him and they blindly follow whatever he says or whatever he does. Therefore, Lord Krishna says there is an additional responsibility for the leader to continue to do the actions, activities, karma, so that the rest of the world also does not stop doing that, which is their nature for majority of people. மேல போலாம். Whatever the best person does, that alone the common man follow. And whatever example he sets, all the world adopts. இது வந்து வே ஆஃப் த வேர்ல்ட். தமிழ்ல எதனை எதனை உயர்ந்தோன் செய்கிறானோ அதையே மற்ற மனிதர் பின்பற்றுகிறார்கள். அவன் எதை பிரமாணமாக்குகிறானோ அதே உலகத்தார் தொடருகிறார்கள். So he sets the standard and the rest follow. Therefore he should follow the path of actions. Having said that, the enlightened person will continue to do the work so that the others also emulate him into doing their work. Lord Krishna then quotes an example of himself. As per Lord Krishna does not have to do any work ruling over the three worlds. However, he says if he stops doing work, the people will go lazy. They will not perform any action and the world will perish. And he himself will be the cause of such a confusion. Therefore, Lord Krishna says he does not rest for a while without action. And he says the importance is to do actions without attachment. However, he continues in the same breath to say that the wise should realize that the people who are not enlightened may pursue doing a task out of the attachment for the results. He should not discourage them. Instead, he should allow them to continue to do the work. And then he says, how does the work or the action arise where people think that they are the doers and what is the reality? அதே அடுத்த ஸ்லோகத்துல பார்க்கலாம்.
प्रकृते क्रियमाणानि
प्रकृते क्रियमाणानि
गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः
गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः
अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा
अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा
कर्ताहमिति मन्यते
कर्ताहमिति मन्यते.
Shloka 3.27 contains in-depth spiritual meaning. But அதுல வந்து ஜாஸ்தி போகாம let me try and put it simply for the understanding by everybody, particularly the beginners. ஸ்லோகத்தை பார்க்கலாம். பிரகிருத்தேஹே கிரியமானானி குணைஹி கர்மாணி சர்வஷः அஹங்கார விமூடாத்மா கர்த்தா அகம் இதி மன்யதே. Prakriti-na, the nature, the reason for the evolution of the universe. Earlier நம்ம பார்த்தோம் அந்த குணைஹி, the sattva guna, rajas and the tamas, the three gunas which bind everything. So அந்த பிரகிருத்தேஹே குணைஹி, அந்த நேச்சரோடு because of the characteristic sattva, raja, three gunas and their variations, கர்மாணி சர்வஷா கிரியமானானி. சர்வஷனா எப்பவுமே, without exception, always, கர்மாணி, all the activities, all the actions, கிரியமானானி, செய்யப்படுது, it happens or it's made to happen. That is because of the natures, the primal gunas, sattva guna, raja guna and the tamo guna, because of the interaction of this, எல்லா activities happen. So that is the cause for all actions and all activities, for all the karmas to happen. Ahankara vimudatma, ahankaramna pathom, the I notion, the one with the strong ego, vimudatmana mutal, the person, ignorant person, and he has got ego. That person thinks aham karta, I am the doer, iti manyate, he thinks like that. That is what it means is all activities happen because of the three gunas of the nature and their interaction with the body, mind and the intellect. Whereas the Atma within every body, it is motionless, actionless. It is only a witness to what is happening. Where the ignorant person thinks he is the doer. He is more of a puppet because the actions happen because of the gunas and the interaction. That's what it means. I suppose as a beginner, it will be enough if you understand this much. Let's go further. All types of actions are actually performed by the gunas, triple qualities of nature. But the egoistic, deluded soul believes, I am the doer. எங்கும் தொழில்கள் இயற்கையின் குணங்களால் செய்யப்படுகின்றன. அகங்காரத்தால் மதிமயங்கியவன் நான் செய்கிறேன் என்று நினைக்கிறான். So this is the root cause for all actions. So Lord Krishna then explains that all actions of all living beings are due to their own nature and the gunas, the characteristic traits we touched upon. We will see in detail later on this again. So Lord Krishna says the things to do is to shed the I notion and the my notion. அகங்காரம் மமக்காரம் சொல்லுவாங்க. நான் எனது அந்த ஈகோ அண்ட் த சென்ஸ் ஆஃப் பொசிஷன் அதை ரெண்டையும் விட்டுறணும்னு சொல்றாரு. So then he says that one should do all actions with the sense of dispassion and with full faith. He also goes on to add that யார் வந்து அந்த நம்பிக்கை இல்லாம கிரிட்டிசைஸ் பண்ணிட்டே இருக்காங்களோ those people will never have a scope to gain the knowledge or towards liberation. And he also adds that even the wise people should continue to do their action without a liking or dislike for the task which they do. And he finally says that it's much better that one does partially one's own dharma, the things stipulated for him, than trying to imitate someone else's dharma. Say, for example, the way we dress, the way we eat, the way of living, இதெல்லாம் நமக்குன்னு இருக்கிற தர்மா அந்த ஸ்டைல்ல பண்ணினதுன்னா ஒன் வில் பி மோர் கம்ஃபர்டபுள். ஏன்னா இன்னொன்று வந்து இமிட்டேட் பண்ணும்போது லார்ட் கிருஷ்ணா சேஸ் தேர் இஸ் ஆல்வேஸ் அ லிங்கரிங் ஃபியர் அலாங். இதெல்லாம் கேட்டதுக்கு அப்புறம் அர்ஜுனா கெட்ஸ் ஆன் டு ஹிஸ் கொஸ்டினிங் மோட் அகேன். ஸோ அர்ஜுனா ஆஸ்க் கிருஷ்ணா a genuine doubt. நிறைய பேர் இது பண்றது பாவம். That is, when they know that what they are going to do is a sinful act, what is it that compels them to still do that sinful act? It's a question with a profound meaning, and Lord Krishna gives a beautiful answer for that. Let's see the next shloka.
काम एष क्रोध एषः
काम एष क्रोध एषः
रजो गुणसमुद्भवः
रजो गुणसमुद्भवः
महाशनो महापाप्मा
महाशनो महापाप्मा
विध्येनमिह वैरिणम्
विध्येनमिह वैरिणम्.
To Arjuna's profound question to Lord Krishna, asking him what pushes a person or compels a person into a sinful act, even though that person knows it is a sinful act. Lord Krishna gives a simple yet direct answer. Shloka 3.37 Kamaha eshaha Krodaha eshaha Rajaha Guna Samudbhavaha Maha Ashanaha Mahapapma Vidhi Yenam Iha Vairinam. So Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna, ரஜோகுண சமுத்பவஹா அப்படின்னா ஃப்ரம் த ரஜோகுணத்திலிருந்து பிறந்தது. அந்த மூணு குணம் சொன்னோம், சத்வகுணம், ரஜோகுணம், ரஜோகுணம், tamas or tamo gunam. So ரஜோகுணத்திலிருந்து பிறந்தது. எது பிறந்தது? ஏஷஹா காமஹா, இந்த desire, and ஏஷஹா krodhaha, this anger. So this desire and this anger born out of the rajogunam. And what is their nature? Maha ashanaha. They gobble up everything, they destroy everything. அது பண்ணின நல்லதெல்லாம் கெடுத்துரும். So it is a big gobbler and it is mahapapma. It's a root cause for all the sins. And Lord Krishna says, enam iha vidhi vairinam. Ihana inge, in this universe, enam, இதே this kamaha and krodhaha சொன்னாரு, the desire and the anger, vairinam, vidhi, vidhina தெரிஞ்சுக்கோ, understand, vairinam, a great enemy, a bitter enemy to be destroyed. So Lord Krishna says, ரஜோகுணத்திலிருந்து பிறக்குது. That is, these two are born out of the rajoguna. If one is got rajoguna dominant inside him, and mahashanaha, they burn out everything, they destroy everything, all the good. And mahapapma, sinful. What are they? The kama and the krodha, the desire and the anger. And Lord Krishna says, recognize them as the first enemies to be got rid of. So he spells out all problems arise out of the desire and the anger coming out of the suppressed desire, which we saw earlier. So it's again a profound answer to a profound question. Let's see the meaning. Lord Krishna said, know that it is desire only, O Arjuna, arising from the quality of rajas, that becomes eventually anger, the all-gobbling, deeply sinful and the most intense of all the enemies in the world. Bhagavan சொல்லுகிறார், Lord Krishna, இது விருப்பமும் சினமும், desire and anger, ரஜோகுணத்தில் பிறப்பது, பேரழிவு செய்வது, பெரும் பாவம். இதனை இங்கு சத்ருவாக தெரிந்து கொள். சத்ருனா enemy, bitter enemy. So Lord Krishna spells out the root cause of all the problems, desire and the anger arising out of that. So these are to be treated as the viral enemies. இன்னைக்கு நம்ம we saw some profound concepts useful for our day-to-day life. Lord Krishna first established the cyclic relationship between the actions, the rituals and the supreme power. Therefore, emphasizing that rituals are important. And he said then that the leader should understand, responsible leader, he knows that other people will try to emulate, imitate whatever he is doing. Therefore, the action or inaction may be irrelevant for him. For the sake of others, a good leader should continue to do the actions. Then Lord Krishna explained the cause for actions. He said that it is primarily because of the nature, our nature, the three gunas, and their interaction with the body, mind, and the intellect, and with the surroundings. So, implied meaning here is, if you want to improve our actions, we should improve our nature, the gunas. அதுக்கப்புறம் Lord Krishna also talked about the shedding of the I notion and the my notion, அகங்காரம், மமக்காரம், நான், எனது, அதை விட்டுட்டு Nambikyoda, with faith, one should follow the teachings to move towards the path of liberation. And finally, Lord Krishna recommends that one should always do the tasks, duties commensurate with his nature, corresponding to his nature, compatible to his nature. Because he says, doing partially one's own task is much superior than trying to do full of imitated one, because he says imitated things are fraught with fear. For example, நம்ம சாப்பிட்ற சாப்பாடு, நம்ம உண்ற உணவு, உடுக்கிற உடை, and the lifestyle, the food that we eat, the clothes that we wear, and our lifestyle, all these are, we should do what is natural or adaptable or compatible to our nature. இதெல்லாம் கேட்டுட்டு Arjuna has got a profound question to ask. He asked Krishna, if people know that this is a sinful act, இது தப்புன்னு தெரிஞ்சிட்டும் எதனால அவங்க வந்து they get pushed into doing that act? So Lord Krishna gives a simple straight answer. The root cause is the desire and the anger. In the next few shlokas, he goes on to elaborate a little more. அதை வந்து நம்ம அடுத்த வாரம் பார்ப்போம். And then we also will be stepping into the next chapter, chapter 4, jnana karma sannyasa yoga. That is the topic of renunciation of action through knowledge. So அடுத்த வாரம் சந்திப்போம். Take care. Namaskar everybody.
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.